record. So we're just going to do the standard algorithm for division of decimals today. One of the most important things that you guys can do on this unit is this. Flip your paper sideways. This is going to keep your place value in line, especially if we start adding zeros to the end of our dividend. We're going to start with 97 and 2/10 divided by 8. So I want to take a second just to review the vocabulary terms. 97 and 2/8. What's the word that we use for that number in a division? Not the place value spot, but when I write out 97 and 2/10 divided by 8. What do we call 97 and 2/10? There's a word. It starts with a D. Does anyone remember? Yes, ma'am?
Divisor.
Close. That's the wrong one.
Oh, the dividend.
Dividend.
That's what I was thinking.
The dividend is what you're dividing. Just remember that. It's the big one you start with. Well, not necessarily the larger number you start with. Up to now, it's usually a larger number, but now all those rules are out the door. The dividend is what you're dividing. The divisor is at the door. And your answer is called what?
Quotient.
Quotient. Good. Sometimes your word problems will have these words in there, and if you don't know what they are, you don't know which number it's talking about. So when we divide with decimals, this is the easiest part. The decimal just shoots straight up to the top. It just sits on top of the roof. You can put it there first, and then we're going to divide like we have for the last couple of years when doing long division. 8 will go into 9 how many times? Once. 1 times 8 is 8. We subtract 9 minus 8 is 1. And I bring down the 7. 17 divided by 8 how many times?
2.
2 times 8 is 16. And 12 divided by 8 is 1. And 1 times 8 is 8. Now this is where you're learning something new.
0.
We cannot put a remainder at the top anymore. Remainders do not work. What do we have to do? Yes,
Put a 0 there and then we bring it down.
So when we do this, we have to put a 0 here and bring it down next to the 4 to create a 40. Can I do 40 divided by 8? It's 5. This is the new part. Let me show you one more. Let's do 2 and 52/100 divided by 3. When we do 2 and 52/100 divided by 3, we're just going to put our decimal up here.
Can we watch the video?
So we're going to start with the 2. Can I do 2 divided by 3? No. So I have to put a 0 here. This is really important. A lot of kids get their place value off right now, and that will throw off your entire answer. So I have to make sure I put a 0 here. Can I do 25 divided by 3? Sure. How many times? 8 times 3 is 24. 25 minus 24 is 1. I bring down my 2. 12 divided by 3 is 4. And I'm done. There's nothing left over. Sometimes your decimal problems will work themselves out to where you don't have to add those zeros. Sometimes you will have one where you're going to have to add a trailing 0 in order to solve it. Let's do one more all together. So 45 and 8/10. 4 divided by 4, 1. 1 times 4 is 4. I subtract and put a 0. 5 divided by 4, 1. My decimal just goes straight up. It sits on the top of the roof. 1 times 4 is 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. I bring down the 8. Now 18 divided by 4. Are we going to have to add some zeros here? I can add zeros for as long as I want. Did I change the value of 45 and 8/10?
No, as long as you
No, I didn't. After the decimal, I can put all these zeros here, but it doesn't change the value of my dividend. 18 divided by 4, I can do how many times? 4 times 4 is 16. 18 minus 16 is 2. I bring down this 0. 20 divided by 4 is 5. 5 times 4 is 20, and there's nothing left over. I usually tell kids to stop at the thousandths and round to the nearest hundredth. In your 5th grade level problems, you're not going to have something that's going to go out that far. Maybe to the thousandths. But not until 6th, 7th grade are you going to have to go out to the 10 thousandths and round to the nearest thousandths. Does that make sense?